A very good evening to you and welcome to tonight's Funny Answers. Did you know that you can start your week? We're about to start the weekend in a very different way. If you're having problems right now, how to do it? Well, Funny Answers proposal is exactly to equip you at least with some instruments, some knowledge, some guidance on how do you actually change your life for the better. I would like to address to you that right now at this point, you're sad. You feel empty. Who knows, maybe even watching TV just to try to get your mind off your problems. Well, how do you change your situation? On tonight's show, we want to tell you one thing that you can't do, that you have to avoid. Because if you do this thing that we're going to present tonight, it is only going to push the solution to your problems further and further away from you. And unfortunately, we have a big portion of the population who are doing exactly this, that doesn't contribute with the solution. What it is living in denial. I would say that the first step towards the solution to a problem is to see there is a problem. You see, there was a time when mankind wanted to reach the moon. There was even this race between America and Russia, or the Soviet Union at the time. Who was going to be the first to land a shuttle in the moon? But actually, what was the first step mankind had to take to reach the moon? Was to see it. Right? If we didn't see the moon, if we didn't acknowledge that it existed, how would we even plan how to get there? So if you don't acknowledge there is a problem, if you don't see that it's an issue to you, if you don't see that you need help, if you do not admit that on your own you have not been able to find the answers, don't pretend it isn't there. Don't be in denial, but accept, yes, it's an issue. I've tried on my own and I realized that I am not that strong enough. It's not the end of the world when you realize that you are not strong enough to resolve everything on your own. Actually, it's a virtue, it's a strength. And once again, the first step to find answers to your problems. Right away, because we're about to show you a video giving you a little bit more details into what we're talking about tonight, I want to tell you that if you're going through problems right now, you can't sleep, you feel sad, you feel empty, you are unhappy and frustrated, but you want to change this. You do not want to stay as you are. And you just want to talk to someone, wherever you are watching us from the UK, from Ireland, from Wales, or wherever in the world, via TV or internet. If you have access to a phone number, then you can call 0207 686 6300. Okay, this number here, we have trained advisors just waiting to take your call tonight. Alternatively, if you have access to the internet, then you can send us an email with your question or prayer request to Finding Answers, help at findinganswers.tv. Don't go anywhere, we're going to show you this video now, we'll be right back.
Denial is something a person does when they want to avoid an uncomfortable truth. Everyone engages in denial at one point or another. It's a normal way of protecting ourselves to get through tough life situations. Without it, we would find it hard to push ourselves when we want to finish a strenuous workout, or when we are dealing with a lot of work. However, there can be unhealthy denial, and this is where it can become an issue. It can become a problem if you are not facing a major problem in your life. You can choose to completely ignore the situation, but this denial is not successful. It is only after the situation that you will look back and ask why you hadn't seen a certain event coming. So, when it comes to denial, it is important to allow yourself to feel and experience the truth. Disappointments and setbacks are a fact of life, but the only way you will grow is if you are honest, with yourself.
So as you could see, this is what we're talking about tonight. Well, joining us on our discussion on the issue of living in denial, we have Lisa here with us. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening.
So you were telling me just off camera here before we came back that there is good denial and bad denial. Honestly, I'm going to learn something tonight because seriously, I never heard of good denial. I only saw it as a bad thing, but teach us about it.
Well, I think that's something that many people actually don't know, that if you do have a sense of denial in your life, it actually mightn't be that bad, because we do need denial, such as if you're going to the gym, if you're running a lot to push yourself, you have to have a sense of denial within yourself to say, I can do this, even if your body is telling you otherwise. Also, if you're studying for exams, the stress of it, you know, in order just to get through some tough life challenges or obstacles in your life, I think you have to push yourself a bit more and tell yourself you actually can do something when everything else possibly is telling you otherwise.
Sorry to interrupt you. I really like this because in this point of view, I agree 100%. 100%. For instance, one thing that I like to do just to take care of my health, I don't have much time to do it all the time, but it's to jog. And there's a lot of spiritual things that we can learn, for instance, even from jogging, because your spirit, which is connected to the mind, oftentimes tells you that you're not going to make it, that you have to stop right now. If you don't stop right now, you're going to die. But there is another voice inside that says, no, it's not true. I can't keep on going. I'm going to push, as you're saying. Yeah. And as we push, then we can find, we can go a longer distance, we can improve our time. So there's a whole lot more that we can do, the viewer can do, all of us can do, but we have to push the limits, right? Our mind tries to tell us sometimes that we can only live up to here, but we can push the limit. Another good denial, I remembered something that Jesus Christ said, a teaching from him. He said, if anyone wants to follow me, let him deny himself. How can this be? How can I deny myself? Well, because there are certain things that if we don't deny ourselves, we're going to be hurting ourselves. For instance, if I'm drinking too much, I need to deny this habit. If I'm addicted to drugs, I need to deny this urge. I have to fight against it, right? If a married person has the tendency to look at someone else, they have to deny that tendency and say, no, this is unfaithfulness. This is going to hurt me. This can destroy my marriage, take my happiness away, hurt my family. I'm not going to do this. So, in other words, there is this positive aspect of denial. I wasn't seeing it at first, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, of course, and I think we do need that in order to get through life. On the other hand, there is bad denial, which I think most people associate it with being something bad, and it is usually understood as a defense against the brutal reality of life. And it blunts the impact for a lot of us of loss, and it offers us a temporary respite that allows us to process feelings more gradually. And as the voiceover did suggest, a bit of healthy denial can go a long way in order to get us forward. However, it is only a problem if it is used deliberately to avoid a reality, such as you were saying, an addiction. You know, and I think, or even in a death of a loved one, that's the number one step we go through in grief. It's denial. And in that case, also, if you're denying that something is happening, if you're denying the reality of situations, that can be more hurtful to you than actually good. So in some sense, we have to deny some things in life in order to feel good and in order to live. I mean, I think if we didn't have a sense of denial, we'd bog ourselves down in too many of the negatives. But it is facing up to harsh realities that is a problem within ourselves that we have to strive forward for, and that is good denial.
Yeah, Lisa, for instance, we can deny ourselves the feeling of just staying, wallowing in sadness, right? And believing that nothing will ever change and everything is lost. We can deny ourselves, for instance, the habits, as we were saying, that can hurt our health, our family, ourselves. And speaking from, once again, the perspective of faith, it is impossible to actually live by faith, to get closer to God without self-sacrifice. Actually, sacrifice, the intelligent sacrifice, is always targeting a positive thing. For instance, if I want to graduate, I need to make the sacrifice of studying. I I cannot just be on the beach all the time or in the park or watching TV and expect that, oh, when the day of the exam comes, I'm just going to take it, whatever it is. You're going to fail, right? Miserably. So you know it requires sacrifice. Even marriage, right? Marriage, I have to make a financial sacrifice. We have to put money together. You have to start thinking about, where you're going to live, how you're going to provide for your family, right? Usually, very oftenly we see, the single lady lives with the family. Many times the mother is cooking for her, the father is providing and everything, and she comes home maybe from school or work. All the clothes are ironed, everything is in place. Well, she's going to give that up, and now she will have to cook. Now she would have to iron. Now she will have to, take care of her husband, take care of her children. However, the benefit of establishing, building your own family, you start a new phase in your life. So we believe in that so much that we make the sacrifice. The same for the man. Before he was living for himself, his money was for his own. He could go out anytime he wanted. He didn't have to give any kind of information to anyone, maybe, to the parents and say, hey, I'm going out this place. But he didn't have much commitment concerning that. Now that he's a married man, no, he must let the wife know what he's doing, where he is, not as a sense of control, but to touch base with one another, to, live a healthy and secure relationship. But people do these sacrifices because they see the benefit. What is the benefit? Imagine the benefit of you getting closer to God. Dear viewer, imagine the benefit of you having a close relationship with God. What do you think is going to happen to your life if that happens? Think about this for a minute. And once again, please, I know I say this all the time, but you might be watching us for the first or second time. When I speak about God, please, don't necessarily think that I'm talking about religion, okay? Finding Answers, I don't like to label it as a religious program. We talk about God, we talk about faith, we don't talk about religion. Well, God is a being, God is a person, is a spiritual being. When you have a relationship with someone, you don't need to have a religion to have a relationship with that person, right? You can have a friend and not necessarily have a religion to get along well with that friend. You don't need a religion to get along well with God. You need to believe in Him. You need to learn from Him. What does He like? How do I please Him? How do I relate with Him? You can receive so much from that. You can receive knowledge, you can receive strength, you can be inspired. You can even receive miracles by your belief in God. Anyhow, we're going to stop here because we have to go to a break. And once again, if what you're listening here is interesting, and you realize that living in denial has been an issue to you, and you just want to get rid of it altogether, and you want to find an inspiring answer on how to stop living in the bad denial because you want to embrace the good denial, 0207-686-6300 is the number. Okay, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Lisa will be introducing here the street interviews, and also we have Isaac, live guest, who is going to talk to us about how he overcame difficult issues through developing a good relationship with the Spirit of God. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Hello and welcome back to tonight's Finding Answers, where we are talking about living in denial. Now you might be asking yourself, how can I tackle the issues if I'm facing denial in my life? Well, the first step is always to ask for help and look at the issues that are triggering your denial in your life, because usually these are formed from past experiences. Well, what do you think about denial in the streets? Well, Christy went out to the streets of London to find out just that.
It's Krista here on Finding Answers, and tonight's topic is, are you living in denial? Sometimes things happen in life which we find hard to deal with. So because of this, do people choose to live in denial in order to avoid life's harsh truth? Well, let's see what the public have to say. Do you find it hard to accept the truth?
No. Because you should, all the time, you should know where you are, and you should forget about your past, and just you should be able to restart basically yourself every single time.
Not all the time, but sometimes depends on the situation.
I think everyone does, yeah. Depending on what the truth is. If the truth is that someone said you have a nice smile, I wouldn't find that hard to accept. It's a matter of opinion, I suppose, not really truth, but it depends on what it is again.
It depends. Sometimes, if it's criticism or something that's hard to accept, I'll find it hard to accept the truth, but you just gotta learn to do it. It is what it is.
Are we ready to handle the truth?
Yes, interesting opinions. I would agree that sometimes the truth hurts. I do agree that sometimes certain things are hard to hear about ourselves. But actually, if you can take criticism, if you can filter out the criticism that is just ignorant, that is just aggressive criticism, things about appearance, things about, or personality that are part of our individuality. You can filter these out. But you can sometimes, for instance, people talk about something that you're not doing so well, a certain project that maybe your boss believes that you could have developed better. Well, especially when you have put so much effort and time into it, it is difficult to hear this. But actually, maybe he's saying this because he believes that you can do better. So anyway, we have here now a live guest that is going to share with us how he was living in denial, but through the power of faith, he was able to find answers. His name is Isaac. Let's hear his story.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Right. right. So good evening, Isaac.
Good evening.
So tell us, you told me a little bit before when we were talking here before the broadcast began, that you were living in denial, yes?
Yes, correct.
Talk to us about your story.
Okay, so with me, my story was more related to of suicidal thoughts and finding it hard to basically overcome what I was going through at that time. So for me, my issues began when I was 17, when I was trying to decide whether to, like, it depends of the subjects to choose in terms of A-level. That's when all the stress started to build up. And as a result, I started to hear a voice within my mind because the pressure was just too much for me to take. And at that point, no one knew. So I kept it all inside and I tried to carry on with life as though nothing was going on. And that was my first encounter with suicidal thoughts. I thought it was normal. And at that time, when I did get help from advisors, they said to me that people my age go through these things and it's going to go away. So I just said to myself, it's going to go away. And I carried on with life from 17.
That was the word that you heard?
Yes.
You don't need to do anything about it. It will just
go away.
Go away. Yeah. Which I have to say, with all the respect to the specialist who said that to you, but I completely disagree with that. Because if someone is having suicidal thoughts, that's a very serious matter to be taking into consideration. If you are watching us and you do go through it, please, by all means, get help. There's many resources that you can call, but don't buy into this story that it will just go away naturally, because it's like someone has a tumor and someone is saying, oh, don't worry about it, it's just going to go away. No, it's going to grow. It needs probably surgical intervention. It needs some kind of therapy, right? You feel a sharp pain to your chest. Sharp pain, it's hurting a lot. And someone says, oh, don't worry, that's nothing, that's just gas, it's going to go away. Well, no, it's hurting a lot. It might be, God forbid, but it might be a heart attack on the way. So there are certain things that we can't just think that they're going to go away naturally. Actually, Isaac, there are certain problems that cannot be overcome without God, without God's help. That's my belief. Why is it that the most developed societies, the most financially prosperous countries with the best universities, access to all technological resources, still fail miserably when it comes to eliminating issues such as, let's go, suicide, addictions, alcoholism, drug abuse, depression. Actually, it's like the more developed a country is, more these issues seem to be present, affecting a higher rate of the population. And in your opinion, dear viewer, why is that? Maybe your life is affected by one of these issues. Because these are issues that affect not only the body, not only the physical level, but also the soul. It affects the emotional, and it affects also the spiritual. What medication can you give to your spirit? What medication can heal your soul? It's not a physical medication. We could say a spiritual one is faith. Faith in God. Believing in Him. Asking for His help. Admitting there is a problem and saying, God, it's not going away, so help me with this. Of course, do whatever else you feel you need to do. Contact a specialist. By all means, continue with your therapy if you're in therapy, but do not exclude God from the equation. Because certain issues, I repeat, can only be really overcome through help with Him. So you were told the suicidal thoughts would just go away. Did they?
It didn't go away. What happened was I kept going back to hospital. I was given medication to take. I did take them, but it was more to put me to sleep because my mind was overworked and I couldn't sleep. So after a while, I didn't want to depend on the medications. I just don't like it. So I stopped taking it and I just carried on living. At some point, I couldn't hear any thoughts, but it would come when I was walking on the street, when I was on the platform waiting for the train. But I would just dismiss it, thinking it's going to go away like any other thoughts. But it stayed until another 4 years.
What thoughts were these, Isaac? What were these thoughts telling you to do?
So on the platform, it would be more of jump onto the train and kill yourself. If I was in the kitchen using a knife, it would be more of stab yourself. If it was someone around me, it would be hurt that person. And I found it hard to have a proper eye contact with people for fear that I was just going to hurt them out of what I was just hearing within myself.
Oh, so, yes. You felt that if you had eye contact with them, you would hurt them somehow.
Because for me, I wouldn't see people. I would see the voices as the person in front of me. So to avoid any confrontation to anyone, I would just not look at you. I would just try to avoid eye contact, because if I would look at you, the thoughts would just provoke me to hurt you, even if they've done nothing to me. Yeah. So it was like that.
And how often did you have these thoughts?
It usually comes when I was by myself. So during the day at school, it wouldn't bother me because I was just focused on other things. But when I'm by myself at home, that's when it will hit me. So I try to find something to do to overcome that. And it was there. I tried to suppress as much as possible, but it was there. And the thing was that because I already asked for help, I didn't know who to turn to. So I just kept everything inside, and that's when it got really worse, when I kept on growing up.
But was it every day?
Sometimes it would be there, sometimes it wasn't there. Sometimes I'll feel happy, sometimes I wasn't happy. So it was like an on and off thing.
Yeah, so we could say it was like an unstable life for you. You never knew what to expect the next day.
Pretty much.
You could have an okay day or it could go pretty bad.
Yeah.
And that's what you were, what was your belief at the time? Did you believe, well, probably that's something that I'm going to just have to live with for the rest of my life, or that's just who I am? What do you think?
At that point, I didn't want to live with it, but because of what I was told, I didn't see a way out. And at that point, I also believed in God, but I didn't know how to see that belief do anything for me. And my family were Christian, and they couldn't see a way out, and the doctors gave medication, which I don't like. So for me, I thought it would go away at some point. I just have to deal with it. But I didn't know it would still be there. I thought when I grow up, I'll be mature, I'll be able to control my thoughts, and it will just go away. That's what I believed.
But things were getting worse.
It was getting worse.
As you were trying to suppress it, it wasn't getting any better.
No. I was going to say there were two peaks in terms of how it got worse. The first one...
I actually am going to ask you to hold that thought for a second, because I will come back after the break and continue speaking to you. But you see, just taking something that he said, very important. He believed in God. But you see the fruit his life was showing. You, viewer, maybe you believe in God, you pray, you have faith, but let me ask you, what are the practical results? Because I think faith is an intelligent thing. We have to use it intelligently. Faith dissociated from intelligence, I think it's a danger. It can become a dangerous thing. It can become fanaticism. So intelligent faith ponders, puts everything, into the balance. It weighs everything. What is the point for me to believe in such a great God, the creator of heaven and earth? I have faith in him. But when it comes to my life, it's like it's upside down. If we're going to believe in God, that comes with a responsibility to see results. If I believe in God, and I'm going to call him Father, then what does a good father do? A good father protects. A good father provides. A good father is present. Well, God wants to be present. But the thing is that it's not just a belief in him that will automatically bring the results. I have to learn how to use my faith. I have to learn how do I actually get closer to God. It's not automatic. It's not just a belief. One good portion of the ministry of Jesus was dedicated to helping people that were troubled by negative forces. Negative forces, evil spirits, they believe God exists. They believe. They used to be angels. They're still evil spirits. So you can have this belief in God that brings no result, that is an unproductive, ineffective belief. Your belief must bring results. I am adamant in saying this to you. I am 100% sure about this. God wants you to see results. But you have to learn how to use the power called faith. We're going to go to a break now. And should you want to know more about how to use this great power that is in you called faith, it doesn't matter if your faith is big or small, but you have it. You want to know how to tap into your faith and see more results, please do give us a call, wherever you are. 0207-686-6300. You can call because we have advisors waiting now at this time to talk to you, okay? We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back with Isaac concluding his story.
So, maybe you're thinking about making some big changes or setting some ambitious goals for yourself. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or read through the Bible. Maybe you want to run a marathon or repair a broken relationship. Whatever your big goal is, the temptation is to expect to go straight from here to here, or from here to here. The reality is, there are a lot of small steps between big decisions and big results. Challenges and obstacles await. At some point, you might even want to quit. But stand firm. Don't be disappointed with slow progress. Don't be overwhelmed by the destination. Rather, focus on what you can do today. Skip dessert. Read a chapter. Go for a run. Make a phone call. The more difficult the journey, the more rewarding the destination. And it can all start today with just one small step.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy, or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
Welcome back to Finding Answers. I just want to say to you that in a few minutes, Pastor David will be joining us on the discussion tonight on living in denial. We'll be praying on your behalf. So there's still time to call or to send us an email and include your name for prayer. I also have a glass with water here prepared because during the prayer, we're going to bless the water for you as a point of contact of faith, as a way, of using faith. We believe the water can be energized through the power of God so that you can get strong inside, okay? In the meantime, I'm speaking to Isaac here, and you were about to say what were like the two worst moments ever, right?
Yeah.
Because you were already struggling with suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. So what was the lowest point or the lowest points?
Okay, so the first lowest point was when I was 20, when my dad passed away. Mm-hmm. Because when I was going through my first suicidal thoughts, he was the one that was helping me to overcome. So when he passed away, it's like I didn't have anyone to talk to. And because I wanted to be strong and feel like I was the man, I didn't tell anyone the pain of losing my dad. So I kept that inside. And that also added to the thoughts because I didn't know how to express my feelings to anyone. I didn't know how to say that I just lost my dad without also saying I'm going through suicidal thoughts. I thought I'd be called crazy. So because of that, I just kept everything inside, which led to me having a worse moment 1 year after when I was at work, and I was also hallucinating. I was hearing voices which was even louder than before. It felt like someone was actually speaking to me. They weren't actually speaking to you. And I would look and I couldn't see anyone. And it's like I just didn't know how to control it, to the point that I would just listen to what the voice told me to do. Because if I just didn't listen, it felt like I was just gonna either collapse or hurt someone. Because I just wanted to take out the frustration onto the voice, but I just couldn't see anything. So that's how I was feeling on that day. And I remember I got into so at work, I was at my desk working normally, but because the voice was so loud, I was just listening to what they were telling me to do, and I found myself in a restricted area, which was not meant to be. And at that point, I got arrested because they saw that I wasn't normal, and they didn't want to call the ambulance because they knew that that condition I was going through, I could hurt the ambulance as a result. So that's why they called the police to arrest me, to take me to hospital, to take care of me. And that's when I lost control even more and was sent to a psychiatric unit for 1 week.
So that advice that you were given, just ignore it. Eventually it will stop. It didn't make things any better because it was only getting worse.
It was getting worse.
Isaac, you don't hear these voices anymore, do you?
No.
None of it?
None of it.
Zero?
Zero.
You don't have suicidal thoughts anymore?
No.
Completely free?
Yes.
So this goes to show, why am I asking these questions? Because it shows you, viewer, that there's a lot of people who are labeled as mentally ill. But it's not a mental issue. It's a spiritual issue. The erratic behavior, the inconsistency in the mood, in the behavior, is just the consequence of the spiritual attacks. Because I'm about to ask Isaac what he had to do to overcome this. And I am certain that he's going to speak about he had to get closer to God. He had to use his faith, to learn how to use his faith, because he had a faith. It wasn't working. So you who maybe were labeled as someone whose case is impossible to solve, that this is who you are, and this is how things are going to be for the rest of your life, or maybe you heard worse than that. You heard that the ailment you're going through, your predicament, is progressive. In other words, the hope they gave you is a negative hope. It's only going to get worse. So you don't have to settle for that. You don't have to be satisfied with that, because it's not my words. It's the Bible. And I believe in the Bible as a scripture, a book that was inspired by God. Yes, written by men, but inspired by God. You know what that book says? One of the things that book says is that nothing is impossible with God. Words of Jesus. Nothing is impossible with God. So, once again, maybe you are not a religious person. You don't need to be. Or maybe you are a religious person and you don't want to change your religion. You don't have to. What you do need to do is to discover what you have to do in order to get closer to God, in order to be with Him. He is with you. Did you know that? If you didn't, I'm telling you, God is with you right there where you are. But maybe you are not with Him. Maybe you didn't spend enough time to find out who He is. Maybe your belief in God is very superficial, as was the belief of Isaac. Well, you can change, you and only you can change that. I guarantee you that if you turn to God, if you even through the prayer that you can do in finding answers, if you want our help, you can start the process of positive change even tonight. As I said in the beginning of tonight's program, this weekend doesn't necessarily have to be one more to you. It can be the one or you're going to see the difference. Now the question, Isaac, what did you have to do to get rid of the suicidal thoughts, the schizophrenia, the problems that the issues that you were having?
So a while back, I moved to a different location because of work, and I was invited to a Christian place on my way to the gym one day. So I came, and I really enjoyed my first day there, so I kept coming as a result. At that point, I didn't really think I had suicidal thoughts until I was speaking to one of the people within the Christian place. They have different groups, and I was part of a youth group. Mm-hmm. So one of the members in the youth group was speaking to me about his story and how he came here as well. And he mentioned that he went through suicidal thoughts. And when he said it, that's when he actually clicked in my mind that I also have the same thing. So I asked him, what did he do to overcome? And when he told me what he did, I decided to do the same. So after 4 months being in this place, there was a purpose of faith that was announced, which said, just give your all to God for something that you want in return. Mm-hmm. So I took part in this purpose of faith, and I gave my all. And after 3 months of taking part in this purpose of faith, remember before I said I was in a psychiatric unit. So during that time I was in the Christian place, but I have taken part in that purpose already. So I spent a week in a psychiatric department. I came out, I was on medications. After a week of being on medications, I came off medications. And then everyone just saw a change in me, that the doctor said to me I wasn't going to come out when I went to the psychiatric unit, because I came in a very worse situation, that people that go through the same thing will take at least 6 months to recover, mm-hmm. and they're going to be on medications. But it took me 2 weeks to recover, and I wasn't on medications. So they couldn't understand what's going on. And after a full month, I was back in work. So I knew what happened, but to them, they were thinking, how did he come out after 1 week? And I went back to work normal. So it didn't really click in my mind that I have overcome until 3 months later, that I noticed I didn't have any issues with suicidal thoughts at all. And at that point, I was just so happy to tell everyone that I overcame.
So what are you doing today?
Right now, I'm working, because I graduated last year, so I'm working as a marketing developer in an IT company, which has been as a result of my faith again, because it was weird the way that I got into the company. I applied, but it was a smooth process. Many times you have different steps to go through, but my step was just an interview and I got the job. Mm-hmm. So I'm working there, everything is good. Mm-hmm. And it's like I wake up looking forward to the next day. Before I wasn't doing that because I was just thinking what's going to happen. But now I wake up looking forward to the next day and just moving on in life.
And how long has it been since you discovered the power of this faith that you are talking about until now?
It's been 2 years and 10 months.
2 years and 10 months. In other words, something recent.
It's recent, yeah.
But is it right to say that for the past 2 years and 10 months, you finally found life?
I think it's more than that, because I had the suicidal thoughts for 4 years, and it went after 6 months being in a Christian place. And I've had the faith for 2 years and 10 months, and my life is moving forward. That people, I remember I had a friend once was going through something similar to my situation of suicidal thoughts. Her friend was going through the same thing. And it's interesting because her friend that was going through the same thing committed suicide as a result of the suicidal thoughts. Mm-hmm. And she didn't know how to overcome hearing that news. And she remembered that I told her I went through the same thing. So it's like people, in a way, turn to me as a reference that you can actually overcome. Yeah. And it's like it just gives people the extra boost that it's not the end of the world if you're going through this issue.
I am certain, Isaac, there's people watching now that listening to you, they are being inspired. Okay, so here it is. He first was in need of help, but learning how to use the power of faith now, he is a help, an inspiration to others, to you, viewer. So this is it. There's not much more to be added to this. It just goes to show how powerful is the element called faith. But as he said, I know if you were able to get the detail, he was challenged in order to surrender everything. This is it. You know, God is the kind of person that he's not interested just in a date. It's more like a marriage. And when you marry someone, you want exclusivity, as you are going to be with that person exclusively. So, if you're going to believe in God, it has to be with all your heart, with all your might, with all your strength. You have to put him first. And then you also become first in his priority list. Imagine how great that is. Imagine how great that is. Well, I want to thank you for coming, congratulate you on this victory, okay? And you, viewer, don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with the prayer. Pastor David is joining us in the discussion on your behalf.
DKW, a different kind of woman. So I want to find out if you might have dyslexia.
My memory's not too good today.
And it's almost like you have to be this superwoman.
Years and years ago when I watched Titanic, and obviously My Heart Will Go On came on, and it just brought me back to that time.
And I was with 4 other sisters. Lord have mercy. So you know how they work. You're not going to go over there and say nothing?
Come on, a little closer now, and let me know that you're mine. Woo!
It's going to be your turn to do your macaroons. No competition.
We're here at Britain's Top Designer 2015.
This is DKW. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Hi everyone, I'm James.
And I am Helena.
Join us here every Saturday at 3 p.m. for Love Talk,
the show that teaches you how to love intelligently.
On my channel, Sky 203.
See you there.
Love Talk on my channel, Sky 203, every Saturday, 3 p.m.
Follow my channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favorite videos and see pictures of your favorite artists. Access our Twitter @MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with my channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
Welcome back to Finding Answers, and Pastor David is joining us on tonight's discussion on the topic about living in denial. Good evening, Pastor David.
Good evening, Pastor Edward.
I was thinking in the beginning of the program, Pastor David, when Jesus spoke about denial. Actually, it was something even interesting. I heard it for the first time when Lisa was introducing the conversation about good denial. Jesus said, if anyone wants to come after me, let him deny himself. And that denial is in the sense of an intelligent denial, a positive one, where we deny ourselves from things that in the moment can bring some kind of pleasure, but it's a bitter pleasure because in the long run, these are things that can severely hurt us, even take our lives if we're not careful. So this kind of denial is a good one.
Yeah, this denial, it helps the person. You know, when you learn to deny yourself, you are trying to educate your own thoughts, your own actions, your attitudes. You know, like you're saying in the beginning of the program about marriage, if the man that doesn't deny himself, how can he remain faithful to his own wife? You know, if the student does not deny himself of the pleasure of going out to go and study, You know, for many of youths that watch this program and are watching us now, for many of them it's better to go out and party instead of studying. But if you don't deny yourself of that night and you start studying, then you will not get the right results that you're looking for.
And you know, Pastor David, I believe that there's a certain discipline that is necessary for our happiness, right? Discipline. I believe that a person that is disciplined with balance is a successful person. Now, there's some part of this discipline that can't be really performed or accomplished without the help of God. For instance, how can I be telling the truth always? How can I resist every temptation? How can I remain firm with the toughest challenges that come my way? How can I overcome issues like the ones that our live guest was talking about without the help of God? It's impossible. I can't do this without Him.
That's the reason of the wrong deny. You know, people believe in God. They say that there is a God. Everybody believes there is something there. Some call God, some people call other names. But they believe in the existence of a God, but they deny that He can help them. So when you deny yourself that God can help you, for example, the testimony of Isaac is the truth, is a fact. While he was in denial, he believed in God, but he was not seeing any results because he denied that God could really help him. Even though he believed in His existence, there was no practical thing that will help him to make or to bring into reality what he was wishing for. And there are many people watching right now that you are in the same situation. You believe in, I won't say that they don't believe in God. They believe in God. You believe in God. But you deny that He can help you. You think that your situation, it's impossible. You can't change. Yes, there is. When you embrace and you believe with faith, as we have been saying, faith is the begin sure. You remove the denial and start saying, no, I believe that God can help me. And of course, this person will see results as Isaac saw in his life.
Evidently. So if there was a solution for Isaac, there's a solution for you, dear friend. All you need to do is, Pastor David is saying, change the way change your speech. Stop saying I can't, this is too hard, and start saying, no, I can. With the help of, on my own I can't, but with the help of God, it's doable. Well, let's join our faith, let's pray. It's the moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my God, we ask you in this moment of prayer for you to visit this person who has been going through different kinds of problems. And the worst is when she denies your help. You are an open door. You are a way for this person to change her life. You are a path that we can walk with faith and believe, and we will see the results coming to our life. But there are many people, my God, denying your help because of the atheism of this world. Because many people, they think that you are just a mere story written in a book, and they doubt your existence. Some of them, they believe that you existed, but you can't do anything now at the moment. And this is the worst deny that can exist in this world. So Father, I ask you today that you may visit this person who wants, deep down inside her soul, inside her mind, she wants a change of life. She wants a new opportunity. But there's been a tough time in her, in him. But I ask you that through this prayer, your Spirit may visit, and you may give them, my God, the strength that they need to stand firm and to believe that their lives for sure will change. In Jesus' name. We bless this water, and we pray that you may receive life. Drink from your waters right now. And receive life in you today.
Well, from us here, be blessed. We believe that really, if you did this prayer, if you participated, you indeed received help. It was a pleasure being with you. Have a great weekend. Till next time, God bless you. Good night.